Hi.
Hello.
Welcome. True Signature 60-minute. Been wanting to get back to Signature series. It's been, 3 weeks and 4 days since I've taught it. And I'm ready. We are in my little office at my house, and I have a humidifier going with a couple heaters, so we will be definitely sweating through the practice. If you don't have a heater in your room, you want to go grab one, you still have a minute, and we're going to get started. So get what you need.
We're taking ourselves to true fusion.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. Thanks for saying hi. I like the waves. All right, we're going to get started.
That's not coming on. I'm in trouble connecting.
We're going to start in Tadasana. So you're going to have your feet 12 o'clock position, straight ahead. As you lift all 10 toes, open up your palms, roll your shoulders down your back, and have your chin parallel to the floor. Find the energy from the earth all the way up into your hips and all the way up through your heart space into your shoulders. Good time to set an intention for your practice. As you begin to start with pranayama, we're going to bring our feet together, big toes touch. Palms come together right at the center of your heart. Look down to your fingertips. Take a full inhale through your nose. On your exhale through your mouth, interlace your fingers and press your palms all the way down to the floor. Inhale, sweep your arms up as you find your gaze right on your hands the whole entire time. Press your hands together as you draw them through your heart center. The exhale's through your nose. Interlace your fingers as you press your palms down. Inhale. Big raise up with your arms, slow, long, deep breath. Gaze is on your hands. Pause at the top. Exhale. Press your hands together. Feel the fire energy in your arms. Gaze all the way down. Empty your lungs out as you bring to the bottom of the exhale. Inhale, raise up. Full, deep breath in. Avoid backward bend. And exhale. Make the sound of the breath both on the inhalation and the exhale. Inhale. Reach high, shoulders down your back, pull your belly in, exhale. So your gaze stays on your hands, it helps range your thoughts in. Zip up your legs, engage your quads. Inhale. Pause, natural retention. Exhale. And 2 more. Stay rooted through your feet. Lift all 10 toes. Any energy you can bring into your legs all the way up through your palms. Exhale. Pause at the bottom. Final breath. Inhale. And exhale. As your hands come through your heart center, you can bring your palms at your side. Big toes touch. Raise your arms all the way up. Have your hands together. Cross one thumb on top of the other. Pull your shoulders down your back. Square your hips and your shoulders to the front. On your inhale, lengthen. Exhale, side bend to the right. Your hips are going to go to the left. Pull your shoulders way down your back. Prioritize on the biceps right at your ears. Lift your chin off of your chest. Each breath is progressive. The inhale is going to lengthen your side left body. Your hips are going to the left on the exhale as your torso goes to the right. Move your right armpit forward more as you can find your shoulders square to the front as your hip pointers square. Adjust if needed. More energy into the left foot. That's going to help stabilize. Stay with each and every breath to deepen the pose. Inhale, lengthen. Feel your side body grow long. Exhale, side bend. One more time. We're going for depth on this final breath. Inhale, use your legs and your core as you draw everything in. Crisscross your thumbs the other way around. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, side bend left. You do not have to go to the full expression right away. It's progressive throughout. Chin up a little bit higher, left armpit forward. Root strongly through the inner and outer edges of your feet. Press your right foot deeper into the mat. Move your arms back. Lift your chin up. Every breath, go a little bit deeper. Your hips are going to move to the right, your torso to the left. Energize your arms more. Straighten your arms. Yeah, feel the little shake that you might have in your arms, as this is not an easy position. And find your depth in this final exhalation as you come all the way to the left. Inhale, engage your core, engage your legs. If you want unsupported back bend, you stay here. Supported back bend, bring your hands behind your back, shoulders into your spine. Press your buttocks flush down as you lean your heart up. Shoulders deep into your back, gaze towards the sky. If this feels good, stay here. If you want more, slide your hands down your legs. Pull onto your inner thighs as you draw your shoulders deep into your spine. Keep your pelvis forward as you'll feel the back bend. Trace your gaze all the way to the back wall if that's available. Everybody, hands back to your hips as you come back to your center. Separate your right foot, hip width apart, and bring your arms out forward, head of the arm bones back. Powerful pose 1. Look down at your feet and start to sit into your invisible chair. The shoulders back, way back into your back body. Palms face down, gazes over your fingers. Sit as low as you can with your heart as high as you can. You can feel your knees lift up. Sit a little bit lower, pull your belly and your ribs in more. Stay with your Ujjayi pranayama, as that is going to keep the internal heat. As you press down through your feet, keep your arms as they are and lift your heels as high as you can. Come onto the balls of your feet. As your heels stay lifted, keep your shoulders in your back and prioritize on the spine being long and against the wall, and start to lean back. So most everybody wants to bring their heart forward here. Your challenge is to keep your shoulders over your hips, and you will get to a leg shake. If you get to the leg shake, breathe into the shake. Keep your shoulders deep into your spine. Take one more full breath, as low as you can, heart as high as you can. And slowly bring it all the way back up. And bring your palms at your side, Tadasana. Feet come together, big toes touch. Inhale, sweep your arms up for a chair pose. Utkatasana, shoulders down into your back body, pull your belly and your ribs in. And take your baby fingers toward each other as your hands, feel the power of your hands. Good, sit a little bit lower, and now bring the palms together at your heart center. As you bring it to the heart center, twist over to the right as your left elbow comes outside your left thigh. Hands together at your heart center, thumbs at your sternum as your shoulders come into your back body. Look down at your feet and your knees and make sure your knees and feet are even. That's a priority, so your hips are neutral. Every inhale, lengthen your spine. Every exhale, twist a little bit deeper from your core. Right shoulder into your back body. Right elbow stacks over shoulders. Inhale, come back to chair, reach your arms up. Palms together through your heart center on your inhale. Exhale, twist over to the left. Once again, gaze down at your feet. Perfect position, your feet together, knees together. Your right knee should not be forward. And press arm into leg. Prioritize on the arm against the legs so you can feel more of a stretch and a twist from your core. Hands, finger pads, knuckles together, squeeze. Crown of the head reaches forward towards the front of your room. Inhale, use your core, come back to center. Exhale, forward fold. Separate your feet hip width apart. 2-piece fingers in between big toe, second toe. As you pull on your big toes, lengthen your spine. On your exhale, take your elbows out east and west. It just means elbows out wide. Draw your shoulders into your back body as you push your crown of the head towards your mat. Feel the traction of the pull of your hands against your big toes with your elbows out wide. Ignite your arms. Find your back, lengthen. Soften your knees as much as you need to. On your next inhalation, release the hands from your big toes and lift the feet up and slide your hands all the way underneath the bottoms of your feet. Have your big toe right at the crease of the wrist. As you press your feet into your hands, push your hands into your feet. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, take your elbows out again, shoulders deep into your spine. Pull them away from your neck. You want more shoulders, you can actually bring your shoulders forward to get a bigger stretch. Stay with your breath. Reach your crown of the head towards the floor as your gaze is in between your shins and you feel the powerful stretch of your backs of your legs. Nice, slide your hands from underneath your feet. Pedal out your feet. As you root down through your feet, take your hands to your hips. Flat spine takes you all the way up. Big shoulder roll back at the top. Palms face forward, Tadasana. Inhale, sweep your arms up. Right arm underneath left arm. Squeeze your arms for eagle arms. Soften your knees, right knee, heel lifts, cross right thigh over left thigh, squeeze thighs. If it takes you a couple times, so be it. Hook your right foot behind your left calf. Elbows stack right above your right knee and move your knees to the right and your elbows to the left. Sit as low as you can, get your heart as high as you can, and find your eagle pose. Lift your elbows, take your hands away from your face. Broaden the upper back as you feel it open up, and squeeze your thighs to get more compression into your inner thighs to open up your hips. Stay with your drishti. It's blocked right at your hands. Fingertips point straight up. On the next inhale, raise your arms up. Set your right foot back down to the mat, left arm underneath right. Sit it low, a little bit lower, and lift your left thigh, cross your left thigh over your right. Left foot hooks behind your right foot. Pause as you keep your elbows down. Sit as low as you can, lean your heart back. The heart back, shoulders, intention is to stack your shoulders right above your hips. Lift your elbows, take your hands away. Your drishti is now blocked by your gaze. As you press down through your foot, raise your arms all the way up. Palms come together, look up. Hands through heart center, look down to your fingertips. Bring your palms face forward and find your Tadasana. Come to the front of your mats. Hands onto your hips and soften your knees. Take a giant step with your left foot. Turn both feet parallel and go wide. See if you can find stability in your legs with a wide stance. You can always walk your feet in. Heels out, toes in. Hands onto your hips, shoulders into your back, lift your heart high. Exhale. Flat back takes you forward fold. Keep your elbows squeezed in and release your crown of the head towards the floor. Set your hands onto the mat. Here's where you can play with your feet width again if you need to. Some of you will stay here as this will be your challenge to stretch into the backs of your legs. If you have a little more flexibility, grab your big toes with your two-piece fingers. Pull on your big toes, elbows go out east and west. Crown of the head reaches towards the floor as you gaze right in between your shins and between your legs. Pull on your toes to get more out of it. And as you release your big toes, take your hands back to your hips. If you need to do something with your legs, movement or out, great. And then slowly come all the way up. Turn your right foot parallel and bounce a couple times. Open up your arms and find warrior two. Heel to heel alignment. Shoulders even with each other as you look over your second right finger. Sit lower into your right hip to make your quadricep parallel towards the ceiling and the floor. Find a couple breaths here as you establish your warrior two. Shoulders, everything's engaged. You feel the muscles fired up. Stay with your breath. On your next inhale, open up your palms, reach your right arm forward, forearm, hand inside your arm, inside your right leg, and reach your left arm. Stack your left shoulder over your right shoulder. Pull your left shoulder into your back body. Spread open your fingers. Press your arm against your leg. It's available if you want your fingertips on the floor, but prioritize on the length of your left arm and move your right arm against your right thigh, inner thigh. Slide your right forearm on your right thigh, left arm up and over your ear. Whole point of this pose is the lateral part of the pose. So from one straight energy line from your left heel all the way to your left fingertips. Find a half bind if you're feeling it today. Left shoulder stacks over right. Full bind, your right arm can come underneath your hamstring. As long as your left shoulder is stacked over your right, play with bird of paradise as you push through your right foot and hop your left foot forward. Everybody else, just stay in your extended side angle. That'll be really good. And as you come up into bird, just make sure that your shoulders are level. If they're not, you can come out of it and go back and just work on your extended side angle pose. Everybody come back to extended side angle pose, left arm up and over your ear. Use your legs and your core, come back to warrior two. Hands onto your hips, pivot onto the ball of your left foot, lean back, shoulders back, heart up. Push through your right foot, take your left leg all the way up. Knee even with your hip, find your challenge balance. And set your left foot next to your right foot. Find your Tadasana. Recovery breath. Front of your mat, soften your knees. Hands onto your hips and giant step with the right foot. Turn your right foot parallel, left foot parallel, and heels go wider, that helps. Hands behind your back, interlace. Palms stay together if you can. Shoulders deep in your spine, lift your gaze, lift your heart. Exhale, arms come with you. Nice flat back, engage your core. Root strong into the mat, into the earth as you feel the energy. And let your head and neck release. Pull your shoulders away from your ears. More energy into your feet. Move your groins back. Stay with your breath as you squeeze your shoulders. Take your hands closer towards the floor. Have the choice now to release your hands. Go to do exactly what you did on the other side. You can find tripod headstand, Shirshasana, guillotine, firefly pose. I'm going to stay on my feet for those of you that are going to stay on your feet. And take your hands on the outsides of your shins and push and pull. A good way to know that you're lined up is if your mat's even, your heels are right at the edge of your mat. Crown of the head, again, releases towards the top of the mat so you can really feel your chest even going closer and closer towards in between your thighs. If you're in the inversion, come out via split, as mindful as you went in. Press down through your feet, take your hands to your hips. Use your core as you come all the way up. Turn your left foot parallel, sink and bounce a couple times into your left hip. Open up your arms, horizontal warrior two. Takes a couple breaths to establish your warrior two. Press through the back, your back heel as you press your heel towards the wall behind you, and right inner thigh pushes back with it. Sink deeper into your left hip. Some people need to lift the hip flexor off of their thigh and square shoulders are right stacked above your hips. Open up your palms on your in-breath. Reach your left arm forward, left arm inside left thigh as your right arm comes up. Look down at your left foot. Make sure your left knee stays right above your ankle, shin vertical, and use the resistance of your arm against your leg. Lateral as you can make it is pull your right shoulder into your back, look up at your right thumb. Find a breath here as you feel the power of the side bent knee triangle pose. Left arm slides on your left thigh, right arm up and over your ear. Extended side angle. Go for the half bind. Go for the full bind. Remember, bird of paradise will come once you can get the full bind and your right shoulder can stack over your left. If you're struggling with your shoulder forward, hang on to just the half bind. It's what the purpose of the pose is, so there's no rush. Everybody come back to extended side angle, right arm back and up and over your ear. Engage your core, come back to warrior two. Take your hands onto your hips. Pivot onto the ball of your right foot, lean back, heart back, push through your left foot, take your right knee up, pause, find your balance, square your hips to the front. Set your right foot back down to the mat, Tadasana. Hands at your side. Coming into our balance sequence, root down through your left foot. It's a good idea to look down at your left foot to make sure that it's parallel and straight ahead. Take your two-piece fingers and grab your big toe, in between big toe, second toe. Pause. As you can stay here, but everybody should try to extend your right leg out once you feel stability in your left leg. Pull your right shoulder back as the tendency is for it to come forward out of the socket. As you pull your shoulder back, you might have to soften your knee. That's perfectly fine. When you're ready, with a knee bent or straight, take your right leg out, take your left arm out, thumb and first finger together for a mudra for your left hand. Pull your shoulders into your back, smile once you find your balance. And if you want to challenge your balance, look over your left shoulder, as over your left shoulder will challenge your balance with the change of your dristy. Bring your right leg back to center. If it's straight or bent, straighten it out. And now bring your biceps at your ears. Square your hips to the front. Dorsiflex your toes back towards your face. Open up your arms, airplane wings, bend your right knee, and come into your airplane pose. Chest stays lifted, shoulders deep into your spine. Look forward. Look forward. It's going to guarantee you that you're in the upper back bend, which is what the pose is about. Straighten your right leg. Square your right hip with your left hip. You can find your hands for separate hand pose. Frame your hands right at your hips. Keep your right leg lifted. Keep your heart up. Shoulders deep into your back. You slowly bring your right leg all the way back up. Bring your palms together right at your heart center. Look down to your fingertips. Set your right foot back down to the mat, Tadasana. Second side, root through your right foot. Lift your left knee, take your two-piece fingers, big toe, second toe, pause. The pause is big. You want to stabilize through the right side of the body. Mountain pose, full right side. Everybody, kick your left leg straight. See what happens. If it doesn't straighten all the way, no big deal. Soften it, pull your left shoulder into your back body. If you can keep it straight, you can keep it straight, or set your left hand on your knee and open your leg out to the side and your arm out to the side. Thumb and first finger together on your right hand, look over your right. Find your drishti, find your pose, root through your right foot, lift your right quad off of your knee, push strong into the earth, the inner edge of the right foot. Use your legs and your core, come back to center, bring your arms up. Extend your left leg, dorsiflex. Imagine you're pushing your left foot against the wall in front of you. Square your left hip with your right hip. You can see it or feel it. And now bend your left knee. Bring your left leg back, arms open up. Airplane. Shoulders into your back, heart up. Unlike Warrior 3, you're not looking down. Your head is looking, gazes forward, and engage your left leg as strong as you can. Shoulders deep. Get your shoulders higher. Wrist as high as your shoulders. Take another full breath. It's okay if you are wobbly here. It's normal. It's part of the practice. And slowly bring your left knee all the way back up. Hands to your heart center. And set your left foot back down to the mat. Tadasana. Right elbow right next to your right hip. Coming into your dancer pose. Catch your right foot from the inside. Thumb and first finger. Have them connect. Have your middle finger right at the baseline of your ankle joint. Raise your left arm up. Pause. Again, you pause to establish the strength and the balance, stability in your left leg. Once you're ready, kick your right heel away from your glute without moving anything else. And then all of a sudden, your left arm will start to extend forward. Kick your right foot into your right hand as strong as you can. Spread your right toes. It's a quad-driven pose. Kick your quad. Look forward right in front of your left hand and stay with the kick. Take 2 more breaths. If you can see your foot above your head, and your right hip squared with your left, slide your hand down your shin and find a deeper pose.
Or slippery.
And slowly release. Take your right foot back to the mat, hands at your heart center, look down to your fingertips and open up Tadasana. Second side, left elbow next to your left hip. Catch your left foot from the inside, thumb and first finger together, middle finger crease, pause, reach. Pull your shoulders down your back, pull your belly and your ribs in. Quad-driven pose. So first thing you do, kick your heel away from your glute. Stay strong and rooted to your right foot. And as you kick, you extend. It's all about the kick and the extend. Notice if your left hip's starting to turn open to the left. If it is, square it more to where it's facing straight down, even with your right hip. Keep the kick. Spread your left toes. Spread your right fingers. Keep your gaze over your fingers. Keep the kick. Kick harder. Kick higher. Kick harder, more, and slowly. Bring your left foot back down to the mat, palms together, and Tadasana. Come to the back end of your mat. Bring your palms together right above your head. Crisscross your thumbs. Crisscross your thumbs one way or the other. Take a giant step with your left foot. Lift your right foot off the mat and pause. So here's where you might stay if this is feeling challenged for you. Otherwise, you're going to drop your body, lift your leg, and come into this letter T position. Let your right inner thigh lead the way of the lift. Point your toes to the back wall. If you need to separate your hands, that could help with your shoulders. Even out the hip pointers as they point straight together. And then bring your palms together at your heart center. Notice how your right hip drops slightly there. Come about another third of the way down. Lift your right leg up, hands at your heart down, and find your challenge here, the balance challenge. As you set your fingertips to the mat wherever they land, notice you're in your standing split. Gaze toward your left shin, crown of the head towards the top of your foot. Inner right thigh leads the way of your lifted leg. Take your left hand behind your calf if it's available. Right hand can come out wherever you want. If you want to challenge your balance, right hand behind your left calf. As you set your right foot down to the mat, lift your heels and come into a little squat. Give yourself a little hug here. Recovery breath. As you set your fingertips back to the mat, forward fold over your legs. Press down through your feet, strong energy of the earth into your feet into the earth, and then come all the way up. Roll your shoulders back at the top. Palms face forward, Tadasana. You come back to the back end of your mat, bring your hands back up above your head, cross the opposite thumb on top. Shoulders down your back, biceps behind your ears. Giant step with your right foot, lift your left foot. Pause. Find your balance. Start to drop your body and lift your left leg. Find your arms right at your biceps. Crown of the head points straight towards the front wall as your gaze is right on the floor, right in front of your right foot. Separate your arms if you need to. Left leg stays as high as it can stay, keeping your hip pointers even with each other. Palms together at your heart center will automatically help square your hips. Give it a shot. And then start to bow a little bit lower. Halfway down, pause. Keep your left leg strong. And set your hands back to the mat. Go ahead and find your standing split. So the left leg's coming high, only as high as you can keep your left hip even with your right. Right hand can grab your right calf as your crown of the head pushes towards the top of your foot. Gaze at your right shin. Find your challenge balance when your left hand can come behind. Some of you might just be able to stay with your fingertips on the mat. This will be enough. So you're fighting with your tighter hamstrings. As you bring your left foot back to the mat, lift your heels and come into your squat. Wrap your hands around your shin and give yourself a bear hug. And as you take your fingertips to the mat, heels will fall to the mat, forward fold. Root down through your feet. Good, and roll one vertebrae at a time. Come all the way up. Big shoulder roll back at the top. Tadasana. As you prepare for the last little bit of the standing sequence. Come to the front of your mat. Soften your knees, hands onto your hips. Take a giant step back with your left foot. Right foot stays parallel. Warrior one is the pose. Raise your arms up, pull your shoulders down your back. So notice if your left hip is more towards the left or towards the front. Some of you might have to move your right foot over to the right, left foot to the left. And hug the feet towards into the mat and squeeze them toward each other without letting them move, but feel the energy it brings in. As you bring your palms together, look up. Straighten your right leg. Start to draw your chin into your chest and take your fingertips right in front of your right big toe. Hop your left foot in if you need to square your hips more and your feet are hip width apart. If you can touch your forehead to your knee, this is the pose. Otherwise, separate your hands and now bring your forehead to your knee. Push your right foot in the mat, left foot in the mat. As you draw your forehead and you hollow out your belly and get your forehead to your knee. Whatever it takes. There's a couple things. You can root your hands, you can bend your knee, and you can hollow out your belly. Bring your palms back together in front of your foot. Engage your legs in your core and come all the way back up. Slide your left foot back a long ways to even your left leg and your right leg so that the hip width apart and you can get your quadricep parallel to the mat. Shoulders down your back, pull your belly and your ribs in and find your crescent lunge. Hug, hug, hug. Breathe into it. Lift your left inner thigh. Stack your left heel above your left toes. Full breath in. Take your hands at your side for runner's lunge as your crown of the head reaches towards the front. Your lunge legs stay the same. You did not move them if you can help it. If you did, range, go back to where they were. Knee above your ankles, shin vertical, shoulders into your back. Runner's lunge. Use your legs, root, and raise your arms back up. Crescent lunge. Palms come together, look up. Take your hands to your heart center and take your twist. Bring your left tricep outside your right thigh. Thumbs are at your sternum. Pull your belly and your ribs in with every exhale. Inhale, lengthen. Always can take the option of your left knee on the ground if you need to, but one day you won't need to. You'll feel the energy of both legs working even together. Release your hands to the mat. Heel toe your right foot over and drop your left knee to the ground. Keep your arms straight, fingertips on the mat. Find this modified lizard pose as you take a couple recovery breaths here. Heel toe your right foot out about 45 degrees. Open up your right big toe towards the ceiling. Take your right hand onto the inner thigh, shoulders deep into your back, and find your twist. Keep the energy of your right foot hugged towards into the ground and towards the back left leg. That way you'll get a bigger, deeper hip stretch. And then every breath, your diaphragm's wide open. Breathe into it. Set your right foot back down to the mat. Circle your right arm up and over and catch your foot for King Arthur pose. Right hand, left foot, push and pull. More energy, the more you can put in, the more you're going to get out. Stay with the energy in the right foot as you drag it back. And you slowly release your foot. Heel toe your right foot back into the midline. Straighten your right leg and dig your heel into the mat. Keep a little micro bend in your right knee. Left hip right above left knee is a really good way to start. This is a great time for a block to set underneath your outer or your underneath your hip where your hamstring and your glute connect, or underneath your left thigh. The full splits, keep your hips square. You can extend your left leg further back. Dorsiflex your right toes back toward your face. Stay with your breath. If you do get your pelvis on the floor, you can forward fold over your right leg for the full splits. You can also take your hands up and come into a back bend with your arms above your head. If you're just in a half split, just dig your heel, drag it back, and you just feel the stretch of the back of your leg. Slide your right foot all the way to the back to a low lunge position. Push your right foot into the ground. Swing your left leg forward. Meet it with your right. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Root down through your feet. Raise your arms all the way up. Full stretch up. And bring your palms together through your heart center. Look down to your fingertips. Have your palms face forward. Tadasana, recovery breath. Come to the front of your mat, hands under your hips, soften your knees. Take a giant step back with your right foot. Warrior one, reaches your arms up. And here's where you start to figure out what you have to do to get your hips to be as square as possible towards the front of the room. So you can move your left foot over to the left, more energy in your back right thigh, lift it. Imagine there's the wall against your outer right heel and push it against the wall without letting your heel move. And sink lower into your left hip. Shoulders down your back, pull your belly and your ribs in, open up your fingers. As your palms come together, look up. Chin to your chest, straighten your left leg. As you forward fold, chin to your chest, forehead to your knee as your big fingers come right in front of your big toe. Hop your right foot in to square your hips and separate your hands if you need to get your forehead to your knee. Hollow out your belly, root your feet, drag them together, and find your forehead to your knee. Choke your throat, stimulate your thyroid. One day the crown of the head will be on your knee. Bring your palms together back in front. Use your core and your legs, come all the way up. Slide your right foot back, heel comes off the mat, crescent lunge. Left foot, right foot, hip width apart, shoulders down your back. Spread your fingers, baby fingers toward each other. Sink lower into your left hip, lift your right inner thigh. Some of you might even come into a little upper back bend. It feels really good. Stretch into your right hip flexor quad. Good, let's find runner's lunge. As you bring your palms, frame your hips, shoulders into your back, gaze in front of your left foot. Couple breaths here as you still feel the power of your legs. Work hard in your crescent lunge legs. Just come into your runner's lunge. Root down through your feet. Raise your arms all the way back up. Back to your crescent lunge. Palms together, look up. Hands to your heart center. Take your twist on your exhale over to the left as your right arm pushes against left thigh. Left elbow stacks over right. Finger pads and knuckles squeeze. You feel the energy of your arms. And then take your gaze up past your left shoulder, past your left elbow. Keep your legs hugged in. Remember, you can always drop your right knee if you need to. One more breath as you lengthen your spine on your inhale. Exhale, twist it out. Nice. Inhale, bring your hands to the mat. Drop your right knee. Heel toe your left foot to give yourself a little space over to the left. Fingertips on the mat. Take a couple recovery breaths here. Feels good to just get back to a normal breath. And as you heel toe your left foot out to the left, open up your left big toe towards the sky. Take your left hand onto the inner thigh and push your thigh away. Put the energy of your thigh into your hand into your thigh equal, and drag your left side of the foot back. You'll feel an amazing opening into your hip, a nice twist, shoulders into your back. Bring your left hand back to the mat. Bring your left foot back to the mat. Circle your left arm up and around and catch your right foot for your King Arthur. Shoulders back, heart up. Again, it's push and pull. You got to push your foot into your hand into your foot, shoulders into your back. Find your twist. As you release your foot back to the mat, heel toe your left foot back into the midline. Straighten your left leg out, little micro bend in your left knee, dig your heel back, dorsiflex your foot. Have your left big toe point forward and your baby toe point back so you can feel the parallel foot. You come into your full splits if you can do it. Well, some people can do it on one side, not on the other, totally normal. You find what works for you at this moment, this time right here. Hug your legs in toward each other to get more power and energy out of the Hanuman, half Hanuman, whatever pose you're working with. Again, you can forward fold if your pelvis is on the mat. You can use your block underneath your hip or your right quad. Slide your left foot back in, your knee right above your ankle. Push down through your left foot. Swing your right foot forward. Half lift on your inhale. Exhale, bow. Push down through your feet and raise your arms all the way up. Big stretch. Reach up. Look up. Palms come together through your heart center. Look down to your fingertips and bring your palms at your side. Savasana. Final standing pose before we hit the floor. We're gonna come into tree pose. Lift your right heel, lift your knee. Take your knee out to the side. Right hand can come on your right ankle and bring your heel all the way up to your left inner groin. Point your toes back towards the back wall, hands at your heart. If you're going to go to toe stand, feel free to practice toe stand as you bring the outer edge of the foot and the crease of the pelvis and the thigh meet, and you go for it. I'll cue it on the second side. As you open up your arms and you pull your shoulders into your back, you can express anywhere you'd like to express here in your tree. Notice that the inner edge of the left foot wants to come off the floor, root it down strong, right at the mound of your left big toe. Take another breath. If you're in your toe stand, come up, meet the trees, because we all meet together. And as you bring your palms together at your heart center, bring your right knee back into the center, set your right foot back down to the mat. Palms at your side, Tadasana. Second side, so if you're gonna go into toe stand, we're gonna take it into a standing half-bound lotus pose. Everybody else, find your tree. Left knee up, take it out to the side, you can grab your ankle. If your foot comes inside, your left knee drops. You're able to bring and hinge from your hips. And yeah, go, I'll just stay there, you do that. That's good. Hinge from the hips, and then you can also stay in here in the tree if you wanna keep the standing half-bound lotus. Palms together. If you're in the tree pose, open up your branches. If you're in your toe stand, your right heel is right in your left glute. Your challenge is bring your hands right at your hips and then take one hand to your heart. One day both hands will be at your heart. This can also lead into flying pigeon. If that is in your practice, I'm going to give you an extra maybe breath or two to get what you need. Yes, to come out of it, bring your hands back to forward. Yes, and hinge the ab, round your spine, pull your belly in. Excellent. Find your tree, meet everybody together. And bring your left knee back to center. Set your left foot back down to the mat. Palms open up, Tadasana. Good work, everybody. You're going to come all the way down to the floor. You're going to grab your water, have a nice sip, and lay on your back for a little mini Savasana. You find yourself surrender into the earth. Palms face upward. Let your legs splay out. And let your body soak up what you just did. We just have this short time here. As you slide your feet back in towards your mat, cross your left ankle on top of your right quad. As you bring your leg in, grab your hamstring or your shin for thread the needle. Push a lot of energy into the ankle, into the quad, so you can get the nice hip stretch. So the left ankle pushes against your right quad, you push and you pull. If it's too much with your hands on your shin or your hamstring, you can easily take your hands away and use the energy of your legs to get the stretch. Nice. Slowly, we're going to extend your left leg all the way out and reach your right hand on the inner foot and find your happy baby. So you take your hand on the inner edge of the foot and you find this another great hip opener. Your left hand is on your left hip to secure it down. Look down at your foot and make sure the toes point straight up. Excellent. And bring your leg back into center. Bring your feet all the way down onto the mat. Find this nice little leg stretch. And now draw your knees into your chest and wrap your hands around your shins. Appanasana. Appanasana, the challenge here is for your whole spine to come onto the floor. Shoulders all the way to your coccyx, all the way to your tailbone. And then squeeze. If you need to this first round, you can separate your knees. That will help, give you a little less hip flexor. Otherwise, hug, hug, hug. Appanasana. As you slowly bring your feet back to the mat, cross your right ankle on top of your left. Lift it up and slide your hands inside your thighs and grab your shin. If that doesn't work, grab your hamstring. Push and pull, so get the energy you need from the ankle against your quad, quad against ankle. Spread all 10 toes, amazing way to get more out of the stretch. Breathe into your Ujjayi breath as you inhale and exhale. Good. Release your hands from your foot. Slowly bring your leg all the way out and take your left hand onto your left inner edge of your foot and find your half happy baby. So take your right hand onto your right hip and find your hand. Push your hip down. Relax your shoulders onto the mat. Find this external rotation, outer hip rotation to open it up. A good stretch in your inner thigh. Bring your leg back to center. Bring your feet together, knees together, and hug. Give yourself another hug. This time your legs stay together and your hands wrap around. If your head, neck, and shoulders off the floor, your intention is to get your head, neck, and shoulder on the mat. So even if you have to loosen up the reach of your hands against your shins, some people will get their opposite elbows to grab and find still the tailbone down. So just practice whatever you can here to get that all in. Release your legs all the way down to the mat. Reach your arms up. Good morning stretch. And as you bring your feet flat to the mat, cross your right thigh over your left thigh, squeeze your thighs together. Bring your right arm underneath your left, eagle arm, eagle legs. Hook your foot. It's easier when you're in the supine position than when you're not. Just give it a try. If it doesn't work, doesn't matter. You might need to even take your hands behind your head instead of the eagle arms. We're going for some core work here. As you inhale, lift your head, neck, and shoulder. As you exhale, lift your legs. Pause. We stay together as best we can. The inhale comes naturally. The exhale is the cue. Inhale. Exhale. 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 5. Exhale. 3, 2. Everybody pause. Elbow to knee. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Squeeze in more. Draw your belly deeper into your back. Feel your belly button hit the back, hit the floor, and slowly release. Relax, let go. Take a breath. Take your feet flat to the mat. Left thigh over right thigh. Squeeze your thighs. Left arm underneath right. Squeeze. A little bit quicker this time. Lift your head, neck, and shoulders. Lift your legs. Elbow to knee. Pause. Inhale. Come down. Exhale. 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 5, 4, 3, 2. Everybody hold it, pause it, hold it, squeeze it, hug it, hug it, hug it, hug it, and relax it. Awesome. And let it go. Feet flat to the mat. 2-piece fingers are going to touch your heels. This is a good way to measure that your feet are in the good position. Toes, feet are parallel. Coming into your bridge pose, root your feet and lift your hips up. Slide your hands underneath you. Interlace your fingers if it's available. Root your outer wrist into the mat. Push your feet down. Lift your hips up. Take your shoulders deep into the mat and lift your chin off your chest. For those of you that want to do full wheel, here's your opportunity. Set your hips down. You can frame your hands right at your shoulders. Turn your hands, fingers out, elbows in, and come into your wheel pose. If you're staying in bridge, stay rooted with your feet. Keep the energy of the root to rise as you press your arms into the mat, press your feet into the mat, lift your hips higher. Yeah, you'll notice that you won't clench your glutes if you move your inner thighs down towards the mat. One more breath. Wheels, come out. One vertebra at a time, chin to your chest. As everybody finds their spine on the mat, take your feet as wide as your mat and just easily bring your knees side to side and windshield wiper legs. As you wrap your hands around your hamstrings and you're going to rock and roll 3 times forward. It's going to spinal rock, and the 3rd time is going to take you all the way up. Cross your ankles, roll over onto your hands and your knees. As you press your hands into the mat, index fingers forward, lift your sit bones to the sky, your first downward facing dog of your practice. Frame your biceps right at your ears and hang out here for just a couple breaths to feel the power of your down dog. Look back at your feet, make your inner heels disappear. And then check out your hands, index fingers forward, thumb and first finger get most of the weight. Spread the other 3 digits wide enough to where they're evenly placed. Take another full breath in here. Exhale all the air out, let it go. Cat tilt to your plank pose. Round your spine and get your shoulders over your palms. So this might mean you had to move your feet back or your hands forward. That's fine. Pause and just take a breath here. And now press back to downward facing dog. So now you're right in the exact position that you need to come to the next pose. Cat, tilt round your spine. Come all the way forward into your plank. Crown of the head reaches towards the front of the room. Draw your elbows in, and for 5 counts, as slow as you can, heart leads the way. Drop your knees if you need to. Come all the way down to the floor. Take your big toes to touch, heels out, hands at your side, right here onto the floor. And find a mini prone Savasana here. As you bring your forehead back to your mat, take your hands, fingernails right underneath your shoulders. Keep your toenails onto the mat. Press down strong into the earth. Shoulders into your back. Come into a little baby cobra pose. Find your hands come off the floor. If it lowers your chest down to the mat, take your hands back onto the mat. Get your shoulders deep into your back. Squeeze and gain some thoracic flexibility here. The hands off the floor will happen in time. Bring your forehead back to the mat. Let your hands come at your side. Left ear to the mat. Big toes touch, heels out. Recover breath. As you bring your forehead back to the mat for half locust pose, you're going to high-five the floor with your hands and slide them underneath your thighs. Get them as close to the knees as possible. Your chin stays on the ground here. Bring your feet together, big toes touch. You're not a good candidate for this, so you're just going to modify it to your need, okay? Everybody else, bring your right leg straight up, straight up. You can actually feel your right thigh come off of your right forearm and set your right leg back down. Chin stays on the mat and engage your left leg, lift your left leg up. Good, and then set your left leg back to the mat. And move your arms where they need to. Some of you will come to a volleyball grip. Some of you will stay with the hands are. And 1, 2, 3, everything comes up. Root your hands strong into the floor. Chin stays on the mat. Lift your legs as high as they'll go. Lead with the inner thigh. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Hug, hug. And slowly come all the way back down. Release your hands from underneath you. Open and close your wrists. Take your right ear to the mat. And notice that you might be a little out of breath here. Completely normal in back bends. They're very, very stimulating in your internal system. So it will give you a little heart palpitation, but it's all good. Coming into our full locust pose. Cactus your elbows out or straight arms, depending on the room you have. Bring your feet together, big toes touch. Inhale, lift your head, neck, and shoulders up. Exhale, lift your legs up. Take your hands and frame your hips, shoulders into your back. And exhale, lift your legs even higher. Lead with your inner thigh, point your toes to the back wall. Take your hands, interlace them behind your back, shoulders squeeze, lift your heart higher, lift your legs higher. Take another good breath in, lift your legs even higher. And exhale, come all the way down. Lay the opposite ear to the floor. And recover breath. Final back bend. Forehead back to the mat, chin back to the mat, bend your knees. Reach back and grab the outer edges of the feet. Hug your feet and your knees together as they temporarily want to go out just so you can grab them. And start to kick your quads. The shoulders will go into your back body. Keep the quad driven pose here, just like your dancer, as your quads kick up. Spread your toes, roll under the soft part of your belly. Kick higher, kick harder, kick more, one more, kick harder, and slowly come down. Slide your hands right next to your chest. Use your core, chin to your chest, round your spine, and press back. Child's pose. Feet together, knees out. Wide knee, child's pose. Move your forehead side to side as you get a release, any release in your neck. As you slowly come back into your table, come into your shoulders over your knees for Camel, Ustrasana. So in Ustrasana, you can keep your heels up, or you can press your toenails onto the mat with your heels a little bit lower. Just depends on where you are. Hands at your pelvis, shoulders into your back, and start to raise your heart up. Move your inner groins back. Imagine you have a block between your thighs so you don't clench your glutes. If you're in Camel and this feels good, stay here. If you want to, you can slide your hands all the way down. Find your fingers on the inside, thumbs on the outside, and pull on your heels as your shoulders move deeper into your spine. As you take your gaze wherever you need to, especially if you feel dizzy, or take your gaze up and all the way back, pull on your feet. Find the energy of the pelvis staying forward. And use your core. Take your hands back to your lower back. Press your buttocks flush down and slowly come back, shoulders over hips. Sit back onto your feet and take your hands to the mat. Lift your hips up into downward facing dog. Look between your hands and gently step your feet to your hands. Lift your heels and come all the way down onto your seat. Extend your legs straight out for a Paschimottanasana, the double leg extension pose. Move your inner thighs down, outer flesh up. Reach your arms up. Shoulders down your back, put your belly and your ribs in. Extension from your heart as you take your hands. Grab the outer edges of your feet. Some of you need to grab your big toes to start. Soften your knees and let your elbows drop towards your shins. Keep the extension of your heart moving forward, crown of the head forward as well. Extend. And one day, when you can straighten your legs, and it will happen with practice, you can close the gap between your chest and your thighs, grab the outer edges of your feet, possibly interlace your hands behind the soles of your feet, or put a block behind your feet. And forehead to your knees. One day, crown of the head will reach the top of your feet. As you press down through your sit bones and use your core, come all the way back up. Good. Press your feet towards the floor as your fingertips come right behind you and come into reverse plank. If your soles of the feet don't come to the mat, you come back to your seat and you come to your feet and you come to reverse table. Pull your shoulders into your back, gaze up towards the ceiling and squeeze your finger pads and knuckles into the mat to engage your arms. Yeah, find your hips as high as your shoulders. As you slowly drop your hips back onto the mat. Good. Set your heels out. Bring your palms face each other and roll one vertebra at a time. Come all the way down onto your back. As you bring your right knee into your chest, take your two-piece fingers on your big toe, second toe. Extend your leg up. Look down at your left foot and make sure it's straight off your hip as your left big toe should be pointing straight. Good. On your next inhalation, bring your head, neck, and shoulders up. On your exhale, close the gap between your chest and your thighs. Lower your head, neck, and shoulders back down on your inhalation. And on your exhale, take your right leg out to the side. Whether it goes out far or not doesn't matter. Just get the stretch. Left hand onto your left hip to find the energy of your hip stay grounded. And breathe into the adductor stretch of your right inner thigh. And slowly bring your right leg back to center. Cross your right leg over your left leg. Open up your arms into cactus and take your legs over to the left. Take your gaze over to the right as you find the squeeze of your thighs for this twist. If this doesn't work, find a twist that works for you. Breathe into the spiral. Breathe into your belly. Both shoulders ground. Drishti wherever feels good. And slowly bring your legs back to center. Engage your core, always coming out of your twists. It's a really mindful transition. Take a breath, let your spine settle. Extend your legs out. This time you're going to bring your left leg in. Grab your two-piece fingers, big toe, second toe, and extend your legs straight. Look down and make sure that your right foot's straight off your hip. And you can feel the energy of the right leg as well as the left. And on your inhale, lift your head, neck, and shoulders. On the exhale, pull your quad towards your chest as you feel the close of the gap between your chest and your thighs. As you lower your head, neck, and shoulder back down, start to extend your left leg out to the side. Right hand onto your right hip. Just find that stretch in the adductor into the medial hamstring. Pull towards your ear. Keep your toes spread, ignited. Keeps the energy in your legs. And as you bring your left leg all the way back up to center, engage your core, cross your left leg over your right thigh. Squeeze your thighs together, open up your arms, cactus, and now take your legs over to the right. Look over your left shoulder to make sure your shoulder stays grounded and your drishti is where it needs to be. The drishti is all about how it feels in your neck right now. So whether it's to the side, straight up, or over to the opposite side. Remember, twists are supposed to feel good, not ever hurt. So if they feel that it's too much, you just have to come out of it slightly. Good. As you bring your legs back to center, take your feet flat to the mat and just take a little jog with your hips back into neutral. Have your palms come to your side. You did it. You've done it. It's finished your true signature 60-minute practice. Let your legs splay out. Let your arms open up. Let your body surrender with every single exhale. Release. Soften your eyes. Soften your facial muscles. Separate your lips and your teeth. And notice if you're resisting or feel any kind of gripping going on. You let it go. Stay in your Savasana as long as you'd like to. It was my honor to take you through Signature 60. The light in me bows to the light in you. Namaste and have an amazing, amazing day.